Welcome to My The Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. All right. Today is Haunting Adeline Day. We have chapters 20 and 21. We'll go ahead and get into the recap after the announcements. But before all of that, let's get into our thread. Sorry, I was making sure everything was running smoothly. It is. So let's rock. Let's roll. Let's get into the thread. Men of Reddit, have you ever been picked up by a girl? Oh, shite, nay. All right. If so, did you say yes or did you think it was creepy? All right, let's see what you guys have been talking about out here, you know. Once a girl walked up to me and said hello, but in one of those damn voices. Caught me off guard by a lot, so much so that I stopped functioning and left as quick as possible. But if I did stay and talk, it would have been cool. Homeboy was so taken aback by her being like, hello. He was like, bye. Like, bro, say something. But I get it. At the same time, like, for a guy, bro, it's like, that doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? Like, girls don't just walk up to dudes and be like, hello. You know, that just doesn't happen. So when it does, you kind of freeze up for a little bit, like, you get that little pinwheel, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, huh? Like, maybe this is going the way I'm thinking it's going, you know? All right, yes, but most of the time this happened to me, I was completely oblivious, and only recently what had happened later on. But the few times I was smart enough to realize that was happening and able to act on it, I was thrilled. I love when a girl takes the initiative. To me, one of the most attractive things a girl can do is make the first move. Okay, all right. That's attractive to him. All right. I think I speak for a lot of guys when I say, please go for it, ladies. Facts. I literally have no idea whether girls like me or find me utterly repulsive. So if you initiate, that helps enormously. And I think I said this on the free Patreon episode for March. I believe it was that episode. I'm hoping it was that episode. I'm not 100% sure. But I was talking about, like, 9 times out of 10, when a girl approaches a guy that she finds attractive, 9 times out of 10, that dude is going to talk to you and you guys are going to have some kind of conversation. You don't have to be super forward about it. You don't have to be, flirty to any degree, whatever. Just you walking up to that nigga and wanting to have a conversation is going to be like, whoa, okay. And he's already going to kind of look at you like, this girl's a little different. I like that. Like it's just an instant, like, for guys, because we don't get that. 100%. We don't get that. We don't get girls walking up to us all day, every day and being like, oh my God, how are you doing? Like, no, that just doesn't happen. So when you are one of those girls that actually does, when you see a cute guy, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go say hi to him, or I'm going to go spark a conversation. 9 times out of 10, girl, it's going to work for you. You know what I mean? I feel him. I'm facts on that, because a lot of times you really never know if a girl actually likes you or if she's just kind of sticking out the conversation and not being an asshole. That kind of sucks too. All right, man, there were so many times I'd want to pick up a guy, but I was afraid to. I usually just thought that the guy was too cool / out of my league. Maybe I should have gone with it, but I didn't want to be seen as a weirdo, which you probably wouldn't. There's a weird stigma here that guys should approach girls, and if girls approach guys, it could mean that those girls are either desperate or just weird. Not really. Guys don't look at that as weird or desperate. We just don't. It's a thing where, like, look at it like this, ladies. As a guy, we understand guys are hitting you up all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Guys are hitting you up all the time, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Snapchat, whatever it is. Even if you go out with your friends, guys are going to be hitting on you, all that kind of stuff. But when you're the one to choose the guy, it's like, oh, the dude immediately knows, like, oh, shit, I'm special. Like, okay, cool. I could work with this, especially if you like the guy and you want to be in a relationship with him. You know what I mean? It works. Now, look, I get it. It's not the norm. It's not the usual. Like she said, I'm sure other girls will kind of look at you that way. Other girls would kind of be like, oh, she's desperate. Oh, she's weird. Oh, she's this and that. Guys come to me. Blah, blah. You know what I mean? But see, guys don't like that. We're like, bro, a girl who sits there and is just like, thinks she's too good to go up to a guy. It's like, come on, man. We don't want that. That just makes you look narcissistic as fuck, and it just makes you look weird. You're like, dude, really? You can't walk up to a guy that you find attractive and start a conversation with him, and see if things go somewhere? You can't do that? You're too big for your britches to be able to do something like that? Like, nah, you ain't worth dating at all then. That just shows your true colors. But a girl that's able to put her pride aside, if you will, and be able to walk up to a guy and have a conversation with him because she finds him attractive and all that kind of stuff, man, I'm telling you, that goes miles for a guy. Definitely. And even a lot of the comments agree with me because, they're like, being a guy, it's actually very opposite. It's a turn on. I mean, I don't mean sexually. It's just nice when a girl approaches you out of the norm. One guy was like, nah, it's a turn on too. And another one is definitely a turn on, shows you're not stuck up, standing in the corner waiting for a guy to come grace you with his presence. See what I mean though? Like, these are actual guys. They're commenting like, girl, no. If you see a cute guy, walk up to that guy and talk to him. See if he's a guy worth actually dating, because you never know. You might see a cute guy and you're like, oh, damn. And then you actually have a conversation with him and he's a complete dick. It happens. I ain't gonna lie to you. It happens. But you're able to at least have that conversation with him and then find out that he's a dick or find out that he's a cool guy and then go from there, go accordingly. So I don't know. That's just my 2 pennies. Was working in a bar when a really cute and shy girl came to pay for her drinks. She put a small paper with her name and number with her money, went on a date the next day, got married 2 years later. Yo! Hey, we don't have too many of those on the show, bro, where we get some W's, man. Usually we got a lot of motherfuckers, they failing and cheating and being weird. So I like these threads. They're W's, you know what I mean? Well, sometimes they are. A lot of times they're L's, but you know what I mean. Wait, so there isn't... Oh, okay, hold on. He's just replying to something else. I only go out with girls who approach me because I'm completely oblivious, and it shows she has great taste. All right, nigga, that's a little weird. I mean, look, man, I'm not saying that you should not wait for a girl to come up to you, bro. No, because the percentage of girls that are going to walk up to you, like, you're going to live a lonely life for a long fucking time, bro. A long time. My thing is you're going to have to do like a 90-10 here, man. You know what I mean? You're going to have 90% approach women. And then that 10% of girls that will actually approach you, you know what I mean? You can deal with them or whatever. But dude, just waiting for a girl to approach you? Bro, good luck. Good luck. You would have to be like a very like high status individual. You have to be very good looking. You'd have to have some kind of talent, just something that would get a girl to actually walk up to you. There's no way you could be just like an average Joe kind of guy and think that a girl is just going to walk up to you. Like, it's good luck with that one there, brother. Good luck. Let's see. In the moment of panic, I turned down the only girl to ever ask me to the dance. She was way too cute for me to boot. So while I'm pretty sure that number game would work, it might not on me, the dumbest man alive. Dang, man. In a moment, so this really cute girl was just like, will you go to the dance with me? I'm sure it was a girl's choice dance. So that's probably why she asked. It's probably a girl's choice dance. He panicked and said no when he really wanted to go with her. And now he's like, fuck, man, I wish I would have said yes to her. You failed, brother. Damn. Hey, it's okay. It happens because you're going to fail a lot with women. Trust me. I'll be 30 this year and I'm failing still with women. Okay. It happens. It happens, brother. It's okay. It happens. Even when you have a girl, you're still going to fail. You're going to fail with the girl you're with. You know, it's like as a guy, you never stop failing with women. Even if you're dating one, you will still fail with women. That's just the way it is, man. It's just the way it is. So, that's the curse of being a man. All right. One night at my college bar, a girl comes up to me and says, "I like your shirt." And I reply, "You can have it if you come home with me." She laughed and walked away. Oh, into the night, she comes back and says, "I'm ready. Let's go." Yo, W. All right. I made grilled cheese and we had sexy times. Have been happily married to her 12 years and we have 3 kids. Man, you married her to get the shirt back, didn't you? What the fuck? Oh, that was the top comment, bro. That was funny as hell. Technically, yes, I have. It was only for a lunch date, but I kick myself every day for not following up on her hints. She was into me and she was really hot, cool, smart, and streetwise. I go to a technical school and she was mechanical engineering, so she was pretty much like finding a Coca-Cola in the desert. I forgot the question. Oh yeah, yes, I have been picked up by a girl. She just asked me to lunch, and I said yes because she was awesome. I could come up with 1,000 reasons why I never called her back, but the fact is I could have, and I didn't, and I missed out. She probably thinks I rejected her. Bro, what are you doing, man? You were there. So many guys, man, I swear, they get to the 1 yard line and they act like they're at the 50-yard line. And it's like, bro, you're right there. All you got to do is close the deal, man. Get the touchdown. You're right there. You're at the 1 yard line. And they're like, nah, I'm still at the 50-yard line. Like, no, bro. Oh, man. See what I mean? We don't get a lot of W's on here, bro. We don't get a lot of W's. I could probably count the W's on like 2 hands that we've had on this show, man. There's a lot of just L's. But at the same time, I get it, man. Sometimes, like, when a girl is really into you, as a guy, you do tend to overthink it a little bit because you're like, bro, there's no way. There's no way this girl likes me this much. What the fuck? You know, especially if she hasn't like actually said her feelings to you. You're just sitting there like, what are you playing at? You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. You know, a lot of girls are probably listening to this right now and they're like, oh, that's trust issues. Oh, you know, who hurt you, so on and so forth. But you have to understand, for a guy, we're not used to being doted on. You know, we're not used to being adored by the girl. We're used to being the like adorer. You know, we're the one chasing the girl. We're the one adoring her. We're the one going after her. So when it's the other way around, I mean, it's a little wild for us. And we're just like, we don't know how to handle that shit. We sitting there like, huh? Wait, what? You chasing me? But there's so many other guys though. Like, why are you chasing me? You know what I mean? Like, we almost talk ourselves out of that shit sometimes. It's just, we don't know how to deal with it. And that's why sometimes, ladies, you got to help us out. It's, you know, like, especially if you really like a guy and you're all about him and you're like, all right, cool. Whether he approached you first or you approached him, doesn't matter. If you out here actively chasing that man, you know, you're going to have to give him some leeway a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee you, he's just not used to it. He's not. I don't know if there's any guy on the planet that's like fucking used to girls just doting on him like that. It's just not common, you know? All right. Yes, I have. And I just realized it at the time. Met her at a, well, let's just call it a social gathering. I told her I had every episode of Futurama downloaded. Mind you, this was over 10 years ago when such a feat was remarkable. Sure, brother. All right. She said she'd like to get a copy, so I told her to come over anytime to get it. She came over. Things happened. We, not so surprisingly, ended up dating. She couldn't believe I thought she actually wanted the episodes. She thought it was pretty obvious. She just wanted to come hang out with me and get to know me better. Again, bro, I mean, hey, W on A, you know what I mean? You actually went through with everything. But, I mean, it's like, bro, you know... think about it like this. a lot of guys, we will take like the smallest little thing. You know, girl say something to us, you know what I mean? She'll say like, oh, you're special. You know what I mean? Like, you're special to me. Like, oh, you're different from everybody else. You'll say those kind of things to a guy, and the dude is just like, oh shit. You know, like, she likes me. She's at least to some capacity thinking about dating me or being with me. You know, like, to some capacity. She's thinking about like, holy shit, she wants to be with me. Something like that. And so then a lot of times that's not what's going on. You know, she'll just say that because she's just like, oh no, I'm just being nice, or oh no, that's how I'm friendly, or I'm like too nice, or whatever. You know, girls will kind of play it off or whatever, and it's not that they liked you, they just are saying that because, I don't know, that's maybe how they feel at the time. I don't know, ladies, you let me know, but that's just how it seems for a guy. You know, a girl will say that kind of stuff and then be like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? This feels nice. She said I'm special. She said I'm different. Da, 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 da. And so we think that they like us romantically, and then they don't. And we're like, oh man, I like you, you know, romantically, blah, blah, blah. Like, the guy confesses his feelings, and then she's just like, oh, I only see you as a friend. And you're like, huh? Wait, what? But you said, and you wanted the, okay, cool. All right, man. You know, and so that's why when a girl is like, hey, you know, I'd like to come over and, you know, get a copy of that. He's like, oh, cool. All right. The only reason she's coming over is for this copy. She's probably going to just leave. And I guarantee you, this was a thing where she went over to his house, right? And she was like, he was like, all right, hey, you know, here's your copy. Like, you know, it's a lot. It's really cool, man. I put like this and that and da da da. And he was like, all right, now I'm sure she's going to leave. But then she doesn't leave. And he's like, oh, fuck, I didn't think I was gonna get this far. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I take it. I'd be like, damn, she's just here for that. That's what she said, you know? Like, we gotta take what you say, ladies, very seriously. So, you know what I mean? That's why it's like, if you don't really like the guy, please don't tell him he's special, or don't tell him that he's different from other guys. Don't say that kind of stuff, because a guy will fall for you quickly like that. I'm just saying. You know, and then, you know, if your motive is to kind of do a little something else at the house, let them know a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, she could have easily been like, oh yeah, you know, I'll come over to get a copy and then we can hang out. You know, that way he's like, oh, okay, cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, guys really can't read between the lines that much. I'm sorry, we just can't. We're a little stupid. No, honestly, if any girl, average looking and up, just started casually talking to me, I'd talk and flirt back. I'm recently single, so as long as you're not grossly hideous or saying really weird shit like talking about your assorted rat furs, nigga. What?
Bruh.
Okay, what kind of girls have you talked to? Then I don't really have a problem. Honestly, I'd prefer it if girls tried to pick up guys more. I have a hard time telling if they want to talk to me or not. Both times they're friendly, and I can't tell if they're shy or just want me to leave them the fuck alone. Facts. Because that's how a lot of times how it is. You know, you talk to a girl and you're just like, is she just being like shy and cute? Or is she just kind of enduring this conversation and counting the seconds until I leave? You know, because I feel like that sometimes, even talking to girls that I'm like friends with, if I'm being honest with you, because they'll just kind of give off that little, I don't want to say vibe, but they just kind of give off that type of feeling where it's the look on their face, or it's the kind of their body language. It's just the way they're being. And I'm like, I know this girl. I'm friends with this girl, but it just feels like she's just counting the seconds until I'm done talking or trying to like I leave or something. You know, I get that a lot, and I'm just like, oh. And you never know. And that's the sucky part about it, man. And I don't think you'll ever know. It's like the center of a Tootsie Pop. And the world may never know. It can be weird. It can be really weird. But most of the time it is actually extremely flattering. Even if I don't feel attracted to her, there's no doubt that when a woman actively makes the first move, she does her damn homework. Facts. I'm always impressed by how much about me they learn before they start coming on to me. But in some cases, not all, but some, that's exactly where that weirdness I mentioned originates. If I'm being honest with you, if a girl likes me and she looks into the stuff that I like, or she's looking into those kind, I don't think that's really weird. I don't. I kind of like when a girl is interested in what I'm interested in, or she, wants to know what my hobbies are. She wants to know the things that I like. I like that. If a girl goes all FBI on me, I'm like down. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I like that because it just means you fucking care. You know what I mean? It actually shows that you actually like me. It's not one of those things where I'm just like a guy that you're like, I kind of want to talk to him, but if we don't talk, it's whatever. I don't care. It just feels like you're like, no, I actually really want this guy. There's no other guy that I'm really talking to or that I'm even attracted to or even thinking about. Like, this is the guy. And then also it makes me happy to know that you're like thinking about me when I'm not around, because that's another tough thing. You know what I mean? For a guy, it's like, for a guy who likes a girl, he's always thinking about her, whether he's at home, whether he's with her, whether he's at work, it doesn't matter what that nigga is doing. He has you on his mind. But for a girl, it's not really that way. Girls, unless they're like all about the dude, they're all in for that guy. That's the only time she'll really think about him, when she's not around him. And so if you can get a girl to that point where she's thinking about you when you're not around, I think that is the W about it. And so I'm like, if a girl's already doing that, I'm like, oh, sign me up. I'm down for that. That's my shit. I'm about it. I'm like, God damn, you must really like your boy. So, I'm just saying. All right, we're going to do like 4 more. I'm going to cut this one short. I'd probably laugh awkwardly, but in my head think, what the fuck? A piece of candy? Oh, okay. He's responding to something else in the thread. I've been picked up, but my current relationship started by my girlfriend drunkenly telling me that she had feelings for me, etc. I like it, not because I'm not ballsy enough to tell her myself, but because I wasn't exactly sure what she wanted, and it was nice that she just came out and said it. It's courteous, not creepy. Facts, because it's one of those things where when you like a girl and you're like, I think she likes me back, but I don't want to say something. And then she's like, oh, I don't like you like that. And then it's just awkward. And now you guys have to hang out because she's going to want to hang out as if everything is normal. You don't really want to hang out as if everything's normal because low key, you're kind of heartbroken. You're like, fuck. Now I have to see her with other guys. She's going to be talking about the other dudes. She's going to make it like blatantly obvious that she doesn't like me. It's gonna be tough. That shit is gonna be rough, man. It's gonna be rough. You're gonna be like, fuck, man, this sucks. So yeah, good luck, brother Ham. All right, this is gonna be our third one. I'd be too pissed off about not getting okay. No, I was at work and it was a nice warm spring day, about noon. I decided to go for a walk around the block. So I am walking along and this woman pulls up alongside me in her car, rolls down her window and asks me if I am walking for pleasure or if I needed a ride. Not only am I a dense person, but I was married at the time. I just said walking for pleasure. There was an awkward pause and she said, okay, and drove off. Poor gal had 2 strikes against her. Oh, damn. Hey, you were married, my nigga. Like, it's a good thing that you said that, if I'm being honest with you. It's a good thing you said that. And my shoulder blade is itchy. All right, we're going to do our last one here. Here's my close but no cigar story. There was a group of friends that I sort of fell into. I knew a couple of them from work and I was invited to hang. Turns out they are a theater company. For those who don't know, theater people can drink a lot. Anyway, one of the girls I was crushing on was always making crude comments and we would basically sexually harass each other all in good fun, right? So one time we were planning to go out drinking. I show up at her house a bit early. It was a thing. I hate being late. Facts. You should never be late. Early is on time and on time is late. I ain't gonna lie to you. We're talking and she says, hey, want to go back for a quickie? Oh, shit. I, of course, am too clever for my own good. I say everyone is going to be here in 15 minutes. There's no way I can get things done in that time. Giving her my best, I see what you did there, look. She shrugs and says, well, of course, and goes on with the evening. Flash forward 3 years, I moved to California. I'm in a grocery store getting a bag of frozen peas when I realized what I had done. Oh God, why? Huh. So she says, want to go back for a quickie. Okay. And he says, everyone else is going to be here in 15 minutes. There's no way I can get things done in that time. Give her my best to see what you did there. Look, she shrugs and says, well, of course. I don't know. Was she trying to smash, or was it a thing where because he was like, oh, everybody's going to be here in 15 minutes. I'm going to be fucking you for longer than that. You know what I mean? But they're doing it like in the window or whatever. And she was just like, well, of course. Like, well, of course everybody's going to be here 15 minutes. Or was she? Okay, I'm kind of confused on that one. I ain't going to lie to you. Maybe it's going over my head. I don't know. Please let me know in the comments. It's probably going over my head. I feel really stupid right now because it's going over my head. And I'm just like, it's there, but I'm like, I don't think it's really there. Like, did she actually want to smash, or was she kind of, because I mean, what else would a quickie be? Come on, man. Like, what else would it possibly be? I don't know what else a quickie could be, if I'm being honest with you. Or did she just say that like fucking around? Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. You guys let me know. If you caught that, if you knew what it was, let me know. Because it went over my head. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna like listen back to this and be like, oh, that's what he meant. I'm probably gonna be that way. But let me know in the comments, because I don't, at this moment, I just don't get it. I want to say she did want to smash, but because he said, oh, we can't, everybody's going to be here in 15 minutes. She was just like, oh, I guess you don't want to do it. And so then he fumbled. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. You guys let me know. I have no idea. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that thread. That one was a bit of a juicy one. I thought there was a lot more W's in that one. Well, not really. There was still a lot of L's in that one. But still, we're trying to go for like different different threads, get out of the kind of dating and like cheating shit, like that stuff's juicy and it's great to cover, but I don't like to cover it every single fucking week. And these ones are creative because you guys really have to think, with your answers. So I like it. All right, let's hop into announcements. Then we're going to go ahead and get into the recap of chapters 18 and 19. Then we're going to get into chapters 20 and 21 of Haunting Adeline. Oh, man. So, patreon.com/Am I That So Podcast. If you'd like to get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenarios to be featured on the show, to be featured on Tuesday and Sundays. I actually don't do scenarios on these shows anymore because I put a lot more focus into the thread as well as Haunting Adeline for you guys. So, if you want to have your scenarios featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show, as well as even the Friday Patreon show, that's where your scenarios will show up, okay? Just so that way you guys know. And then if you're a primary and audio listener, please rate the podcast. 5 stars is very, very preferable. TikTok as well as Instagram. Get on over there for the clips. Follow us over there, man. TikTok, we are blowing it up. We're killing it over there. Hopefully by the time this releases, I would have hit 5K, and then well on our way to 10K. I'm hoping to hit 10K by June, which would be your boy's birthday. So I'm hoping for that. And then YouTube. Head over to youtube.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Am I the Asshole Podcast, all one word. Or hit the link tree, hit the YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and that helps out a lot. Even if you don't watch over there on YouTube, just you subscribing helps. All right. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support, but let's get into the recap of chapters 18 and 19 of Haunting Adeline. So, in chapter 18, it was a sexy episode. Woo! Homeboy ate her coochie, bro. My God. This man, he was in her house, right? He was in her closet. He waited for her to fall asleep. She fell asleep. And mind you, she's in a t-shirt and panties. That's it. She's in an oversized t-shirt and she got some panties on. That's about it. And so homeboy gets out of the closet. He ties her to the bed, her arms to the bed, and then he slides them panties off and he's just eating that coochie. And she like hates it, but she loves it. She's like, my God, this man's got a tongue for the ages, but I hate him so much because he's already done some crazy shit. He's fucked me with a gun, he's already like killed dudes that have touched me or whatever. Like, homeboy is wild as fuck. But he ate the fuck out that coochie, man. But that was pretty much all of chapter 18. It was just him eating the coochie. And so, and then he was kind of pissed off because, he didn't fuck her. But it was one of those things where he doesn't want to fuck her until, like, she is, like smitten with him, until she is like, oh my God, like, I want you. I want to be with you. So he's holding off. And it pisses him off because he's just like, my dick is fucking hard as shit. And I'm getting massive blue balls, just eating this girl's cooch. And she is fine as hell. And so then we get into chapter 19. He's in his car. They're talking about his hacker buddies, and his hacker group are talking more about what is going on. And there's like this festival of like creepy people, and they're doing like rituals and this and that. And apparently, I think they're auctioning girls or something like that, or they're like selling chicks. They're doing some crazy shit. And so, he's talking about that with his hacker buddies and everything. And then he happens to talk to Adeline on the phone. And they were talking on the phone. And he was just, pretty much telling, because she was just like, why are you doing all this? What's going on? And he pretty much confessed to her, like, I'm obsessed with you. Like, ever since I saw you at the book place, I've been obsessed with you, and I'm going to make you obsessed with me to the point where you won't let anyone else touch you. You won't want to be with anybody else. I'm going to be the only one that you're going to want. My touch is going to be the only thing that you want. And so he's setting it down for homegirl. He's like, trust me, I got you. So that's where we left off. It did cliffhanger a little bit, but hey, man, we're going to get right on into it. So this is chapter 20 of Haunting Adeline. Give me 1 second.
Chapter 20.
All right.
The Shadow. The bass from the music is all-consuming. It feels like the beat is coming from inside my chest. I never quite got used to the volume in clubs. I make my way through the throng of grinding couples, drunk girls shaking their asses, and obnoxious douchebags wearing too much cologne with a mountain of gel in their hair. Oh, God. One even has his button-up parted so he can show off the gold chain dangling on his hairy, overly tanned chest.
Ugh.
Scarface is a role model very few manage to do justice to when they imitate him. They can stick their faces in a pile of coke, but don't exhibit the same finesse while doing so. My hood is pulled over my head, concealing my identity as I make my way up the metal stairs. The same metal steps Addie climbed up not too long ago with another man's hand wrapped around hers. I enjoyed sawing off that hand and would definitely do it again. When I reached the landing, I stopped short. On the half-moon couch is Max, with his legs spread, and a waitress bouncing up and down on his lap while his head is kicked back with his eyes closed. Her skirt is hiked up, and her thong pulled to the side, bearing her pussy eating up Max's cock for all to see. I arch a brow, unimpressed with how low she has to bounce. Addie would never have that issue. A pair of twins sit on either edge, receiving their own treatment from a girl. Sighing, I step back in the shadows, pulling out my gun and screwing on the silencer piece. The bass is milder up here, but a bullet zipping by your ear will draw anyone's attention. I take aim and shoot, the bullet an inch away from Max's head. Immediately, he dives for cover, pushing the poor girl off him and onto the floor. She yelps, covering her body as she scrambles up and makes a run for it. "Hey," I say calmly. She freezes, while the twins move into action, reaching for their own guns while Max quickly yanks up his slacks to cover his now flaccid dick. "I'd appreciate it if you tucked the guns back in your pockets along with your dicks. None of you are my type. Unfortunately for you, I only have one, and she's got pretty light brown eyes and a penchant for dangerous men." When one of the twins doesn't listen, continuing to pull out the gun and take aim, I fire off one shot next to his head, too. He drops the gun and raises his hands. I turn my eyes to the three girls. "I want you, beautiful ladies, to see yourselves out and never speak of this again, yeah? I have the memory of an elephant, especially with faces. These women will never see the wrong end of my gun, even if they do tell, but it sure as hell would make my life a lot harder if they knew that." They all nod and run out of the room like there's a Rottweiler nipping at their bare asses. "Who the fuck are you? Where the fuck is security?" Max spits, a hand resting on the gun in the back of his pants. "Security from this club?" I laugh. "You know, for someone who has some pretty seedy business dealings, you're a cocky son of a bitch for not having your own damn guards." Max sniffs with indignation. I smile wider, realizing that he's still struggling with loyalty in that pesky power vacuum now that the Talaveras are wiped out. "Couldn't get any loyal guards. Mind your fucking business," he snaps. "Who are you, and what do you want?" I trot over to where he's sitting and take a seat next to him, sighing as if I just sat on a beach chair on a private island with a pina colada. And then I press the cold metal of my silencer to his temple. I'm riding on the fact that at least these two bozos will show him a shred of loyalty. "Does it freak you out when someone pops up out of nowhere and threatens your life?" I'll admit I was a bit more direct, but the intention is the same. The twins' eyes shift to each other. "What the fuck are you talking about, man?" "I'll tell you why I'm here when the three of you set those pretty little guns you got riding up your assholes on the table there," I say, nodding my head towards said table. The twins look to Max for direction, and when he nods, they listen. Oh, goody. He does have two people that have a shred of loyalty. Let's see how long that lasts when someone who is clearly in over their head is running the show. A bead of sweat drips down Max's forehead as he follows my directions, nearly throwing the weapon on the table from his anger. The other two follow suit. One twin picking his up from the ground, and the other sliding his out from the back of his pants before setting them on the table with Max's, slowly and gently, indicating this isn't their first rodeo where a gun is in their face. Adeline Riley and Dea Pearsons. Those names ring any bells in those empty heads of yours? Max's eyes round at the edges slightly, enough to reveal recognition. Never heard. Here's the thing about liars, I cut in. I really don't fucking like them. They kind of make me twitchy, actually. Do you want me getting twitchy when my finger is on a trigger? Max's lips tighten into a hard line. Your girl was involved in my best friend, and here's the thing about assumptions. I cut in again, grinning when Max snarls with irritation. They're baseless, and most of the time you're really fucking wrong. Addie doesn't have anything to do with Archie's death, but I do. Max's head jerks toward me, but is deterred by the gun still firmly pressed against his temple. He grits his teeth, his chest heaving with fury. I smile as his body trembles. What? Is Addie an ex or something? You get jealous she wanted Arch instead? Max hisses. Man, those two really were besties. They sound exactly alike when laid on their deathbed. I shrug, unbothered. I did get jealous. But she's certainly no ex. Your best friend was a shit person. You sorry pieces of shit may get off on slapping around women, but can't say I find enjoyment out of that. I will fucking kill. You're not going to do shit. I interrupt for the third time. You're a tadpole in an ocean of sharks, and you have no fucking idea who I am. But you're about to learn. When Max's eyes meet mine, I flash my teeth, pull out my phone, and click the play button on the awaiting video. Max's father sits in a chair with a gag in his mouth. Sweat and tears run down his face as he looks at the camera with all the fear humankind has ever known. The two of them are as close as a father and son can be, sharing the same interests in drugs and tossing around women for the hell of it. His father rambles behind the gag, pleading for his life. I have no plans to kill the man. While he's a shitty human, he wouldn't be any good to me dead. Not when he's going to be the leverage hanging over Max's head. I came awfully close to walking in here and shooting them all dead, but then I'd have to kill all their families too, and my girl doesn't like it when I do that. Now that Addie's on their radar, the more of them I kill, the more enemies I make, not only for myself, but her too. Exhibit A. The dickhead who has my gun pressed to his head because I killed his best friend. I don't have the goddamn time to deal with small fish when I have great whites floating around in my ocean. Too bad for them, I'm a fucking megalodon. What did you do to him? Max shouts, jerking forward towards the guns. I grab his arm and haul him back against the booth, a breath of air puffing out of his chest from the force. He's not dead, so settle down. No need to yell, my ears are sensitive. Colorful expletives spill from his mouth, but I ignore them and tap the silencer on the underside of his chin, hard enough to make him bite his tongue. As long as you leave Addie and Dea alone for good, Daddy Dearest will continue to live a long, healthy life. I don't want to see a goddamn hair out of place on either of their heads, you feel me? I know everything about you, Max, and your two helpers over there too. I know where you eat, sleep, and shit, and I will watch you until some other sorry asshole puts a bullet in your brain. You picking up what I'm putting down? His blue eyes narrow into slits, glaring at me heatedly. It's the equivalent to throwing a bunny at me, but whatever makes the asshole feel like Elmer Fudd. I stop the video of Max's sniveling father and stand, keeping my gun trained on him, specifically on his dick. Most men would rather die than live without a dick. We have a deal, Elmer? His brows plunge at the name, but he doesn't question it. Having a gun pointed at your family jewels changes your priorities sometimes. Yes, as long as you let him go. I flash a wide smile. He's already on his way home. I turn to leave, walking back over to the staircase before his voice stops me once more. Hey, you never said who you were, Max calls from behind me, his voice still packed full of unbridled anger. Turning to look over my shoulder, a feral grin curls my lips, and I say with a wink, "You can call me Z." And then I see myself out, laughing from the look on their paling faces.
Mr. Forthright, welcome to Pearl.
The blonde woman says, ushering me into the dimly lit foyer. She's dressed in a plain black blazer and skirt, with nondescript heels, and her hair pulled back into a tight bun. Shit looks painful. A serene smile is on her face, but her bright blue eyes are missing their sparkle. The baby blue color is lifeless, and it's my first clue that she's seen too much in this place. I enter into what looks like a foyer with gold-tiled flooring, black walls, and an obscene chandelier. Gold-framed pictures of the founding members of the Gentlemen's Club line the walls. Or, in other words, a bunch of fucking rapists line the walls. Men in business suits, smiling at the camera, and probably still riding the high from raping a little girl or boy. They all look the fucking same to me. I walk down the hallway, the creepy men staring at me from either side the whole way down, while music with a heavy bass emanates from somewhere ahead of me. I'm keeping the earpiece tucked safely away in my jacket until it's needed. It took 5 minutes to get in this godforsaken place because Detective Fingers from security wanted to thoroughly investigate my ass crack. I had to spend several minutes lecturing him about what would happen if his fingers brushed up against my asshole one more time. After walking down Rapist Alley, I walk into a massive room filled with couches and poker tables. Men lounge on the couches with women draped over their laps and shaking their asses or tits in their faces. At the back of the stage, a woman is currently humping a pole while men are throwing dollar bills at her. Hung on the back wall behind the performer is the Ouroboros, confirming the type of people who frequent this club. A full bar is off to the left of that, where several men in business suits sit, drinking glasses of alcohol, probably $50,000 scotch that tastes like ass. Then again, they probably enjoy that taste since they think their own farts smell like flowers. Women in scantily clad clothing roam the room, delivering drinks and pretending to laugh at their lame jokes and... what the fuck? 10 feet from me, a woman stands at a poker bar holding out her bare arm while an asshole stubs out his very lit cigar on her skin. My face drops when I see that asshole is Mark fucking Williams. God damn it. Smoke sizzles from her flesh, but she doesn't move an inch. In fact, she doesn't even flinch. Anger punches through my chest. I force myself to stay calm as I walk over to the table, acting more interested in the game than I am in the girl. As I get closer, I notice she has a blank look on her face, much like the hostess that greeted me. The smell of burnt flesh fills the area. One dickhead even waves his hand in front of his nose dramatically, as if it's her fault it smells. She drops her arm and just stands there, a glazed look in her eyes. After closer inspection, I notice that the entirety of her arm is covered in burn scars, old and fresh, all in different stages of healing, and plenty of fresh burns from tonight. Mark shoos her away, and she robotically turns and walks off as if she didn't just have a cigar stubbed out on her flesh. She's drugged, and after looking around at the women, I realize they all are. Not only does it keep them compliant, but they probably won't remember the majority of the shit that goes down in here. My mask stays in place, refusing to crack from the anger swirling in the depths of my chest. Keeping my eyes on the table, I approach the men. "Gentlemen, who's winning tonight?" 5 pairs of eyes turn to look at me, all with snide looks on their faces. I can tell what they're thinking without them even saying it. Who are you? What gives you the right to speak to us? "I am," Mark chirps, and I literally couldn't have planned that better myself. It's like God opened up his hands and dropped that fine piece of blessing in my lap himself. "Do you play, boy?" What I really want to do is smack the shit out of him for calling me boy when I'm a 32-year-old man, but instead I offer a devious smile. "Sure do," I say. Mark looks over at a bald man and tips his chin up. "Let him have your spot." The table seems to go silent. I keep my expression calm as the bald man stares back at Mark with a blank expression, but he doesn't have his eyes on lockdown. Anger sparks in his brown pools, and he looks at Mark, much like how I really want to, like he wants to kill him. It's for the best, really. He wasn't a good poker player anyways, if he couldn't even keep his anger in check. Calmly, the man stands and places his cards down. Royal flush. He would have won that round. I keep my face blank, not unveiling the smile that's threatening to emerge. I would feel bad for him if he didn't get off on hurting women. Who am I kidding? I wouldn't feel bad at all. While Mark was burning his cigar on the waitress's flesh, this bald man over here was adjusting himself. He wasn't the only one, though, and I made sure to note every one of their faces for later. The man gives Mark and me one last look before walking off without a word. The valuable little lesson that came out of that embarrassing spectacle was that Marky Mark here has power. Whatever weight he pulls, it's enough to give him superiority over the common folk. Wonder how many innocent lives it took to get that far. "What's your name, boy?" he asks. "Zach Forthright," I lie easily. "Name's Mark Williams. I'm sure you already know who I am, though. How long have you been playing poker?" Mark asks as they restart the game, brushing over his narcissism like the notion of me not knowing who he is isn't an option. I know exactly who he is, but not for the reasons he thinks. Since I was a kid, I answer truthfully. My father was a professional poker player, and he taught me how to master a poker face, something that has been crucial to my field of work. He'd sit me on his lap as a little boy, teaching me the game, and then show me his cards as he played with his friends, testing me to see if I could keep a blank face. He lost a lot of games doing that, but he truly believed I wouldn't learn how to master a poker face unless I knew what it meant to play the game. He'd whisper in my ear, point out my tells, and teach me how to not only read and understand facial expressions, but micro-expressions. During that time, my father never truly lost any money. After my lesson, I'd run off and play, and he'd win all his money back plus some. It took me a couple of years to master a poker face, and even longer to master the game itself, but he made me play against him once I did. I beat him in the first game, and I don't think I've ever seen pride in a man's eyes shine brighter since that day. Well, boy, let's see what you're made of then. He'll find out what a bullet is made of when it's lodged in his throat, but I don't say that. Throughout the next several hours, I purposely stay neck and neck with him. I understand a narcissist's ego enough to know that it would have only angered him if I cleaned him out. And if I'm horrible, he won't respect me, so I keep the playing field even. You win some, you lose some, back and forth until he slaps his cards down with a hearty laugh. I've met my match, he chortles, taking a drink out of his whiskey glass. I smile prettily at him. You're a lot better than I gave you credit for, I praise. He offers me a cigar and I take one, but I'd let Detective Fingers finger blast my ass before I put it out on a girl's arm. I'll have to figure out a way to stop him without breaking his neck if he tries it again. How come I haven't seen you here before? He asks, eyeing me closely as he lights his cigar. Not necessarily suspicious, but every man in these types of clubs looks at a new member with an air of wariness. I'd recognize those nasty scars anywhere. That was fucking rude, but he's not wrong. I shrug a shoulder. My money is new, I lie. Zach Forthright is a self-made millionaire from web design and branding. If that name is Googled, there will be a Wikipedia page and social media posts with fake followers and engagement, but everything is a blanket site. Once I start gaining a reputation here and showing my face more, I'll be looked into, and I'll have little enough to raise an eyebrow or two, but nothing that would make someone think I'm trying to take down the club. How'd you get them? He asks, nodding his head at my face. Bully in middle school? Pretty fucked up kid that liked to play with knives. I lie again, flashing a grin, and then I shrug. The ladies seem to like them. He chuckles. Oh, I bet they do. The young girls have always liked that, what do you call it? Bad boy look. Before I can respond, a waitress approaches with refills of our drinks, the same glazed look in her eyes. Come here, sweetie, Mark says to the girl, patting his hand on his knee for her to sit on. The wedding ring on his finger glints in the light, as if to shine a light on the fact that he's a skeevy son of a bitch. Addie won't ever have to worry about that shit when I marry her, that's for damn sure. She doesn't even have to worry about it now. The only pussy I want wrapped around my cock for the rest of my life is hers. The waitress looks at him like he's merely an apparition. She's looking through him. Robotically, she sits on his lap, a toneless smile gracing her bright red lips. Mark cuddles her closer, looking at her with a smarmy grin. From here, I can see his cock growing in his pants. Normally, I'm not one to judge another man's dick, but when it's hard for an abused girl and the tent is lackluster, well, that's just disgusting on many levels. He pulls her back directly onto his dick, gripping her hips tightly and guiding her ass to grind against him. I sigh, keeping my composure. Carefully, I swallow the last of my whiskey and purposely set it on the edge. I raise my nose in the air, sniffing dramatically. What is that delectable smell? I ask aloud. Mark looks over to me, his grin growing while I stare at the girl. You smell delicious. Lean over, let me smell you. The girl doesn't hesitate. We both lean towards each other, and once her body is hovering over my empty glass, I flick it. The glass tips and it goes crashing to the black tiled floor. Thousands of glass pieces shatter, the sound ringing out loudly despite the heavy music in the room. Chatter ceases and heads swivel towards the commotion. Reminds me of high school when a kid farted in class and the whole room went silent and stared at him until his face turned purple. The girl jumps up, tiptoeing her platform heels through the glass as planned.
I'm so sorry.
She apologizes, the first hint of inflection in her tone.
I'll clean this up right away.
Are you fucking kidding me? I shout, glaring at her like she's the one that knocked it over. Her mouth falls open and I stand. Come to the back with me, I snarl, my eyes flashing with fury. She curls in on herself while the other men snicker. Clumsy bitch, one of the men mutters, looking at her the same way you would if you accidentally touched the weak old gum stuck to the bottom of your desk. I'll be back once I take care of her, I say directly to Mark. He laughs heartily, enjoying the thought of an innocent woman being punished for something so trivial. The old fuck probably falls over once a week and needs life alert to get back up. Asshole can't talk about glass falling when he can't even keep his body vertical. I grab the woman's arm firmly, jerking her against me and dragging her away. She doesn't fight too hard. Self-preservation is kicking in, fighting its way through the cloud of drugs in her system, but she has long accepted her fate. As soon as I get her into a quiet room, I turn to her. She's already dropped to her knees, looking up at me with sorrow and acceptance. She's a beautiful girl, with bright red hair, grass-green eyes, and freckles dotting her nose. Something about her reminds me a little of Addie, and I nearly walk right back out and crush my fist in Mark's face just for touching her. Get up, I say firmly. She gets to her feet unsteadily, looking much like a baby giraffe walking for the first time. I'm going to get you out of here, I say. Her brow puckers and she frowns.
Sir?
What's your name, sweetheart? She stutters over the question.
Cherry.
I shake my head. Is that your real name or stage name? She rolls her lips.
Real.
Her parents are really fucking unoriginal. Like, might as well have a second child and name her Strawberry or Watermelon. Anyway, besides the point. How would you feel about getting a fresh start in life, yeah? Her eyes widen, and it seems like the prospect of escaping this one has some of the drug-induced fog receding from her gaze. But then she turns wary, and then resigned. Tears line the edges of her lids, and the sight will forever haunt me. She looks down, seeming to collect herself.
I know what that means. I'm really sorry. I didn't realize I was leaning that far down.
I'm not going to hurt or kill you, Cherry. I cut in. I'm going to help you, but I need you to listen to exactly what I say. She shifts on her feet, peering up at me through her lashes and bobbing her head frantically. I slip out the Bluetooth earpiece I had hidden deep in my inner suit pocket. All of my jackets have a special lead lining in them that deflects radiation, meaning I can walk through any body scanner without the devices being detected. I pop it in my ear, press the button that immediately calls out to Jay, and wait for him to answer. When he does, I explain the situation. It takes 15 minutes before he has a car ready to pick her up. In that time, Cherry tells me about her family, about her younger sister that has cancer, and her poor single mother. She works this job to pay the medical bills, but she confesses that she doesn't know if it's worth it if she's killed and the extra income stops. She won't ever have to worry about taking care of them again, or being killed because of a broken glass. Jay watches the camera feed and directs me towards a back door exit without detection. I grab her wrist before she walks out of the door. The nondescript black sedan is waiting 10 feet away, and the door already opened for her.
I know,
she says softly.
I don't know your face. I've never seen you before.
She guesses. I shake my head. Cherry, you're not going to a place where you'll ever be questioned about something like that. You and your family will be taken care of and safe, I promise. All I ask is that you do something meaningful with your life. That's all. A single tear slips from her eye. She hurriedly wipes it away and nods. Her brightened eyes shine with hope, and doing this shit, involving myself in the worst of humanity, It's all worth it when I have a survivor look at me like that. Not like I'm a hero, but like they can actually envision a future. She stumbles off to the car and I make my way back inside, making sure no one spots me. "Jay, clear the cameras," I say before taking the earpiece out and slipping it back in the hidden pocket. The cameras will be spliced. If anyone reviews them, they'll see me dragging a dejected Cherry into a room and us walking out separately. It's one of my specialties that I mastered and then trained Jay in, taking parts of a camera feed and manipulating them to look exactly how you want them to, without even the best hackers being able to detect manipulation. I crack my neck and ready myself for a very long night of shooting the shit and becoming BFFs with a fucking pedophile.
July 4th, 1945. 4th of July is always one of my favorite holidays. I spend all day setting up for guests while John grills, and then we let off fireworks in our backyard over the cliff. It's always incredibly beautiful and my favorite part of the whole night. But right now, I'm in my room crying. John is drunk again, and he's been yelling at Sarah and I all day. Nothing is done right, and he even went as far as throwing a glass plate against the wall. I'm thankful our guests haven't arrived yet. Frank is on his way here, and I'm thankful for it. He's been a little distant since the dinner where John finally exploded. But I imagine he doesn't want to be involved in our marital disputes. Still, I'm glad he's coming. He'll be able to keep John busy while I entertain the rest of our family. I only pray John doesn't embarrass me tonight. I don't think I'll ever forgive him for it. Chapter 21. The Manipulator. I'm stewing. Nana used to make this god-awful stew when I was young. It smelled like a dumpster fire and tasted even worse. My attitude is about as foul as that stew right now. Ugh, I don't even know his name, I groan, my voice muffled by my hands. They've been glued to my face ever since Daya got here, and I confessed he broke in again. I haven't gotten around to what happened yet. There's not an ounce of courage in my bones. She's been patiently waiting, knowing that I'm holding something back. Something terrible and shameful. And something I can't stop fucking thinking about. "You fucked him, didn't you?" she asks calmly. My eyes bulge and I unglue my hands from my face so I can pin her with a glare. "No, I did not fuck him," I snarl, as if she's suggesting something insane and I didn't come really damn close to it. I can feel the blood rising in my cheeks and my left eye twitches. Fuck, Daya knows that's my tell. "You did!" she bursts, standing up from her chair and looking down at me with shock. "I didn't, I promise," I rush out, grabbing her hand. "But something did happen." She puffs out a breath and settles back down in her chair, scooting back into the island in my kitchen and grabbing her margarita. She sucks down 2 huge gulps, trepidation on her face. "You sucked his dick?" she guesses, lifting a hand to fiddle with her nose ring. The images those words just put in my head have my blood pressure rising to dangerous levels. I bite my lip and shake my head slowly, the guilty look still present on my face. "He sucked you?" When I just stare, the guilt in my eyes burning brighter, her mouth pops open and her eyes round. "Bitch, what the fuck?" she shouts. She leans in closer, an unreadable emotion flaring in her eyes. Was it consensual? And this is where I get tripped up, because it wasn't. But had he kept going, had he stripped his clothes from his body and fucked me, I can't say with absolute certainty that I would have stopped him, or that I would have wanted to. Still, I shake my head no. Fury flares in her sage eyes, and her lips twist into a snarl. I lean back, honestly, a little afraid of her. I put my hand on hers. "Daya, well, it wasn't consensual at first?" I say the last part like a question, embarrassed that I'm even admitting something like that. She blinks. "At first," she echoes. Meaning what? He was that good that he changed your mind? My hands cover my face, but she forces them away, nearly bumping her nose into mine as she intently waits for an answer. You have such pretty eyes, I tell her. She snarls at me. Spill, slut. I close my eyes with a resigned sigh. That man ate the soul out of my body, and I don't think I've gotten it back yet. She jerks back, surprise in her pale green irises. I know, you can judge me. I'm judging me too, I say pitifully. I slide her margarita over to me and finish it off. Mine's been gone since I first told her he broke in. Baby girl, I am not judging you, but let me get this straight. You egged him on in a text because you felt like a bad bitch. And then he broke in to make good on his promise, tied your ass up, and you freaked out at first, but then ended up writing his face? She summarizes slowly. Several emotions swirl in her eyes, confusion, shock, maybe even intrigue, but not judgment. And that's only because I didn't confess to her about the gun incident. I don't think I'll ever be able to talk about that one. I roll my lips. Pretty much. Without taking her eyes off me, she leans over and grabs the bottle of tequila we used to make the margaritas. She pours a shot into both of our empty cups and then hands one to me. We take the shot, cringing at the taste, and then stare at each other in silence. I'm just not even sure what to say. I groan. Ugh, Daya, I don't know what to do. He didn't hurt me, but he did. He definitely forced himself on me, but I would have let him go farther had he tried. I'm so fucking confused, and I feel dirty and wrong, but when it was happening, it felt... I trail off with another groan, and this time I just bang my head against the granite countertop. Really good? She fills in. Amazing. Out of this world. All of the above, I confess. I have never come so hard in my entire life. Damn, she breathes, a note of awe in her voice. Has he contacted you since then? She asks gently, running her fingers through my hair in a comforting gesture. I lift my head, a frown on my face. Yes, he said he didn't want me to fall in love with something fake. He pretty much said he's showing me who he really is, instead of lying to me about it. The fact that he thinks he can make me fall in love with him in the first place goes to show how deranged he is. That's oddly nice, but really fucked up. There's something wrong with him, but we knew that from the chopped off hands. I snort. Yeah, just a bit. Have you, asked him about that yet? I nod. Yeah, he basically played his usual macho man act and said not to worry about it and that he'd take care of it. I roll my eyes, but in all honesty, I'm glad for it. If I can count on my shadow for anything, it's to fuck someone up. He's made that more than clear. I sit up and bring Gigi's journal back towards me. Anywho, let's just focus on figuring out what happened to my great-grandmother. It's not hard to put Daya back into hacker mode. She slides her laptop towards her and immediately starts tapping away on the keyboard. The quickness of her fingers gives me a run for my money when I'm in a particularly good part in writing my book. She's been known to have to replace a few keys from how hard she types. So, time of death for Gigi was estimated about 5:05 p.m. Your great-grandfather claimed that he had run to the grocery store and when he came home, he found her dead in their bed. I found some witness reports claiming they did see John in Morty's grocery store around 5:35 p.m., but they didn't specify if they had seen him walking in or out of the store, or if they just saw him shopping during that time. I nod my head, twisting my lips in contemplation. In her last few journal entries, she was frantic and kept saying that he was coming for her. She never said who he is, but it has to be Ronaldo, right? So, maybe he waited until John left and snuck in and killed her while he was gone. He stalked her, after all. He'd know exactly when my great-grandfather would have left. Daya shrugs a shoulder, looking a little unconvinced. But don't the diary entries say that John was getting aggressive? And Gigi said she was going to divorce him, right? She questions. I frown. Well, yeah, but I don't think he would have killed her. He loved her too much. Couldn't the same be said for her stalker? Noting my expression, Daya sighs and rests her hand on mine. Addie, I love you, and I'm going to say this with all my love, but don't project. I'm starting to get the feeling that you want Ronaldo to be the killer because in your head, that will criminalize your stalker too. Please tell me that's not why you're seeking justice for Gigi, because you're looking for a reason to hate your stalker when in actuality you don't. I pull my hand from under hers and look away. Uncomfortable feelings invade my body, preventing me from speaking right away. I don't need to look for a reason to hate him, I grumble. Daya cocks a brow, unimpressed with my attitude. I sigh, a headache blooming right between my eyes. I rub at the spot, stalling as I try to figure out what I want to say. Because she's not entirely wrong. Maybe I just want to be able to say that all stalkers are crazy and that it's not possible to fall in love with one. I want to be able to say it's never happened before, and I want to say it's absolutely impossible to find myself in a loving, passionate, and healthy relationship with a person who invaded every aspect of my life, unapologetically. As much as I hate to say it, my shadow might not be wrong either. The man has a magnetism about him that rocks me to my core. He's shifted my entire life out of balance. He scares the fuck out of me, but just like watching a horror flick, it thrills me too. He was right when he said that if he had approached me in the bookstore and took me out like a normal man, I would have fallen for him. The way he carries himself, the way he speaks, and his passion are irresistible. And he's also right that if I had fallen in love with a lie, I would have been devastated. I just wish he wasn't such a bad guy. But then he'd be a different man, a man you might not be able to love. Doesn't matter. I refuse to love my shadow, and I'm not going to fuck him either. What happened 2 nights ago was sexual assault, and I'm not going to spin it any other way. That's not why I want justice for her. I say quietly. My hand drops, and I meet Daya's soft gaze. Never one to judge me, even when I probably deserve it. I obviously never met Gigi, but Nana loved her to 1,000,000 pieces, and I don't think she ever quite got over it. Not only do I want justice for Gigi, but for Nana, too. That seems to placate her. Good, because I did find a lead on one of Seattle's most notorious crime families in the 40s. I perk up. Leaning over to look at the laptop screen, she turns it toward me for a better view. Back in the 40s, the Salvatore family ran the streets. Angelo Salvatore was the crime lord. She points towards a picture of 5 men. In the middle is what you would expect from an Italian mafia boss: deeply tanned skin, large bulbous hooked nose, and incredibly handsome, with his wide smile and sparkling brown eyes. Surrounding him are 4 men, their ages ranging from what looks to be 18 to late 20s. Based off the white hair peppered through Angelo's black hair, these must be his sons. They all look like him and are equally good-looking. 2 of them are wearing military fatigues, most likely having been drafted in World War II. Those are his 4 sons, Daya confirms. But they're irrelevant, sexy as they are. Look in the background behind them. Do you see him? She points to a grainy, slightly blurred image of a man looking off in the distance behind the Salvatore family. Most of his body is concealed, but what can be seen is a handsome face, part of a nice suit, and a top hat. This is the only picture I could find, but I think there's a possibility that's Ronaldo. My nose is nearly smushed into the screen. I'm staring so hard. It's a reach. Any man could be in a suit and a top hat in the 40s, but something is different about him. You see what I see? Daya questions, excitement in her tone. He has a black eye and his lip looks busted. I trail off when I note Angelo's right hand gripping a glass of alcohol. Angelo's hand is busted too. I look to Daya, and it's like looking into a mirror. I know the excitement burning on her face reflects my own. And guess the date on the picture? She says, smiling wider. my eyes round. Oh, bitch, just tell me. September 22nd, 1944. 4 days after that entry from Gigi saying Ronaldo came in beat up. My mouth pops open, and I look back at the picture, staring at the man that could have possibly been Gigi's stalker and her murderer. I'm drunk. I ended up drinking 2 more margaritas, and Daya had the bright idea to take more tequila shots. My world spins as I stumble up the stairs, a giggling Daya on my heels. We're both on all fours, our hands planted on the dirty wooden floors so we don't fall. Bitch, why did you make me drink this much? I ask, giggling harder when I almost topple sideways. I felt it was appropriate while we were investigating a murder. She stutters, her voice wobbly and filled with giggles. I snort in response, my vision still playing tilt-a-whirl with my head. I walk her to the guest bedroom and help her get to bed. I'm not much help, considering I nearly send us both crashing to the ground a time or two when I try to help her get her jeans off. How are you going to get yours off? She asks, staring at my jeans. I wave a hand. I'm sure the stalker will help me, I retort. She widens her eyes comically. If he puts his peen in you, record it. I want to watch it later. Right now, the prospect of fucking my stalker seems hilarious. We'll both regret it later, I'm sure. If we even remember. We giggle like schoolgirls, her laughter following me out of the room. I lean heavily against the wall as I stumble my way to the bedroom. I don't even bother trying to take my jeans off. I just plop on the bed, on top of the covers and everything, and I'm out seconds later. A brush of skin across my cheek wakes me. I groan, my world still spinning as I open my crusted eyes and see my shadow standing by my bed, brushing the hair from my face. Oh, great, I grumble. You're here.
Little mouse, are you drunk?
Way to ask the obvious, I mumble, slurping up some drool that's leaking out of my mouth. I'm still too drunk to be embarrassed. Shakily, I sit up and stare around the room. The lights are still on. I guess I forgot to turn them off, and it feels wrong to see my stalker in anything but the darkness. It makes him more real, and I don't like it. Turn the light off, I demand, refusing to meet his eyes. I much prefer when I can only see shadows of his face. He turns and does what I say. I'm so surprised that he listened that I almost snap out another demand when the light clicks off just to see what he'll do. He's once again hidden in the shadows. When he walks through the room, it's like the darkness clings to him. He is darkness. I can't figure out what scares me more, him in the dark or him in the light. I need to take my jeans off. I suppose you're going to watch me, aren't you? The alcohol is making me feel bold right now. I'm not thinking about consequences or his threats. Even the fear I feel swirling around is muted. Right now, I feel like I can say or do anything. Like being drunk somehow gives me a protective armor, when in reality it just makes me more vulnerable. He leans against my door, his arms crossed as he watches me unbutton my jeans and slide them down my thighs. You know, I start, stumbling as I try to get the pant leg around my foot. Who the fuck invented skinny jeans, and why am I wearing them? I don't even know your name.
You never asked,
is his reply. I'm asking now, kitty cat. Finally, I get my foot through the hole and slide my leg out. I straighten and look at my freed leg in victory. 1 down, 1 to go. You know, I say again, before he can even open his mouth. I do quite like calling you kitty cat.
But it wouldn't sound so good when you're screaming it.
He taunts, his voice a little closer than it was before. I look up to see he's stepped away from the door, his form creeping through the darkness. I snort. You don't think so? I bet I could make it sound good. I challenge. It looks like his entire body turns to stone, and that makes me feel even bolder. I slide the other pant leg off, this one going a little smoother than the other. And then I climb up on the bed in nothing but a bra and t-shirt and my purple thong. He gets a good view of my ass, but that's the least of my concerns. I grab a pillow and straddle it.
Addie.
He growls his warning. The deep rumble has dampness gathering between my thighs. It's unfair how his voice has a physical effect on my body, but I guess right now it works for me. I grind on the pillow, tip my head back, and moan out, "Oh, kitty cat." I squeak when I see his hand flying towards my face from my peripheral. The alcohol has sucked away all my reflexes, so when his hand grabs my hair roughly, I can do nothing to stop it. My back arches as he yanks my head back. His beautifully scarred face appears above mine. Those goddamn yin-yang eyes with thick lashes framing them. He's terrifyingly beautiful, and right now he looks pissed. "What?" I breathe out innocently. He leans down and softly brushes his lips against mine. Electric shocks ignite from where our lips touch. I suck in a sharp gasp, appalled by the reaction his body creates within my own.
Zaid.
He whispers against my lips.
That's the only name that will ever leave your lips from now on, especially when you're making that little pussy feel good. And when I'm making that pussy feel good, then you can call me God.
All the oxygen in my lungs evaporates. If he had given my soul back, it would be gone again. "I think Lucifer would suit you better," I whisper, my lips sliding against him as I speak. A sinful smile flashes across his mouth, baring his straight teeth for a brief second. The 1 second was a stark reminder in my drunk-addled brain that I have someone very dangerous in my face right now, and I need to get him away from me. I arch further back, pulling my face away from his. "You gonna assault me again? Is it going to be you forcing your dick in my mouth this time?" I spit at him, narrowing my eyes in thin, hateful slits.
I thought about it.
He admits in a contemplative murmur.
I would love to see you swallow my cock tonight.
There's a but, and in my drunken state, I'm almost offended. I quirk a brow, but even I know it doesn't have the same effect as him doing it.
But you're still inebriated, and you'd vomit all over my cock the second it touched the back of your throat.
Okay, now I'm really offended. My mouth pops open in shock. "I would not, you asshole!" I squirm away from him, but he reinforces his hold in my hair and keeps me still. Always fucking forcing me. Who could love this man? He laughs, a dark, cruel laugh, but it also transforms his face right into the devil's, handsome and ruthless.
Are you saying you want to try?
He taunts, his eyes glittering in the moonlight. I scowl at him. Never. You know what? You're right. I would vomit, but not because I can't handle your puny dick, but because I would be so disgusted by it. The venomous words spew from my mouth without preservation. My fear is muted, so my mouth is uncensored. He arches a brow and my mouth dries. Fuck. Why does it look so scary when he does that? He stares at me and I hold my breath, waiting for him to snap. To murder me. Hurt me. Do something. When his free hand reaches to his zipper and slowly pulls it down, I know I fucked up. Oh, you just couldn't keep your mouth shut, could you, Addie? I stare at his hand movements like he's about to open up a jar of spiders. He pops the button on his jeans and then stills for a beat. A gasp bursts from my throat as he wrenches my head roughly to his pelvis right as he pulls out his cock. Fuck. Fine. Okay. So, maybe his dick is the exact opposite of puny and would surely kill me if he did decide to choke me on it. And maybe it wouldn't be the worst way to die when it's the most mouth-watering thing I've ever seen. It's otherworldly. He holds his cock in his hand, and my pussy weeps in response. I'll never tell him how glorious he looks because right now, I want to fucking chop it off. Just like he did Arch's hands. He wouldn't be a man without his cock, and I wouldn't have to worry about him using it as a weapon and crushing my windpipe. He yanks my head closer until it's inches from my face. Musk and the scent of leather and spices waft to my nose. Of course he smells as tempting as he looks.
You think you can handle this?
He asks darkly. I swallow, desperate to lubricate the dryness in my throat. The false bravado is steadily slipping away, and now the fear is coming back full force. Yep, I say, my voice wobbly. But I will bite it off if you try it. I'm too busy staring at his cock to notice the smirk glide on his face. The tip caresses my jaw, the soft skin sliding against me, sending shivers down my spine. I stare at him in disgust, but my face is a mask of lies, and the fucker knows it. He starts to pump his cock, gripping it tightly, the veins bulging beneath his grip. Even swallowed in his large hand, it looks intimidating. "What are you doing?" I snap. He slaps the head of his dick on my cheek in response, silencing me with a sharp gasp. The asshole. He continues to pump his cock, and when I realize that he's jacking off on my face, I start to struggle. His hand tightens painfully, needle-like pricks of pain blooming along my scalp. "Let me go," I hiss, pushing both of my hands against his thick thighs. He lets go of his dick and darts his hand up to my face, squishing my cheeks painfully together. My teeth bite into the sensitive flesh, but he doesn't let up. Tears line the edges of my lids, threatening to spill over as he leans down and bares his teeth in a vicious snarl. That fear holds me completely immobile. Finally, I feel the terror penetrate my thick skull, because this man could easily kill me. My bravery is sucked out of me like a vacuum, and I melt into a puddle of fear and hatred.
You want to act brave, then I'm going to show you exactly what happens to smart mouths. You're going to swallow my cum like the fucking bad girl you are, and I don't give a fuck if you don't like it.
He roughly lets my face go, and the hand still tangled in my hair yanks me back to its previous position. I glare up at him through blurred eyes, but if anything, the sight only spurs him on. He pumps his cock in quick, rough tugs. It doesn't take long before he's growling again, the veins in his neck tightening.
What's my name?
He growls. "Kid." He briefly lets go of his dick to deliver a sharp slap to my cheek. It stings, but it wasn't enough to actually hurt me. I snarl. "Zaid." He sucks in a sharp breath.
Open your mouth, little mouse. Now.
When I refuse, he slaps his dick across my face again, this time harder. I'm getting tired of him slapping me. Rage burns hotter, and I'm tempted to reach over and bite the tip of his dick until it's severed completely.
You really want to test me right now?
He challenges, cocking that damn brow and breathing heavily. Desire shines in his yin-yang pools, and although he's punishing me, he's staring down at me like I'm a priceless jewel. With reluctance, I open my mouth, hatred spewing from my eyes. He flashes a sinister smile before he says,
"Now, thank me."
I go rigid, fury spiking hot. He wants me to do what?
Fucking thank me for letting you swallow all my cum, Adeline.
A dark edge creeps into his tone, and I just can't let go of the fear, even as I work up the nerve to deny him. Images of him holding a gun to my face and pinning my tied-up body to the bed as he took what he wanted flash through my mind, fortifying the terror in my bones. "Thank you," I choke out angrily. As soon as I say the words, ropes of cum are spurting from his dick and right into my mouth. A deep rumbling growl releases from his throat, traveling straight to my core. I clench my thighs as my taste buds are invaded with the flavor of his saltiness. Desperately, I want to spit it out right in his face.
Fuck. That's a good girl.
He breathes. In response, a tear slips from my eye. I shiver from the words, just as my hatred for him burns brighter. When the last bit of cum drops from his tip and onto my lips, he grabs my face again, pinching my cheeks together and preventing me from spitting it all back on him like I planned to.
Swallow,
he demands, his voice dark and full of warning. I do, because I have no other choice. His seed slides down my throat, alongside a mouthful of hateful words I want to spit at him. I refrain for now. The situation has cleared the alcohol-induced fog, and at the moment, I feel stone-cold sober. He tucks himself back into his jeans and stares at me as if he can't tell if he wants to eat me or hurt me.
your pussy is wet for me, isn't it?
Fuck you. I snap back, my tone uneven and filled with unshed tears, so much for refraining.
Let me see, little mouse.
My brow plunges, and I stare at him in confusion.
Stick your hand in your underwear. Dip one of those fingers into your pussy and show it to me.
I open my mouth to tell him to fuck off, but he squeezes my cheeks again. Another tear slips free.
Did you not just learn your lesson about having a smart mouth?
My fists curl, bleaching my knuckles white from the force. And to think this man believes I'll fall in love with him, I want to laugh in his fucking face. No, I want to add my own scars to his face. Cut it up until he's nothing but ugliness, just like he is on the inside. Again, I do as he says. I slide my thong to the side, plunge my middle finger in deep, and present him with the only fuck you I can give, my arousal glistening on the digit. He smirks at my dig, not the least bit bothered. Embarrassment clouds my vision, but I don't let him see it. He's getting nothing but poison from me. He grabs my hand and brings my finger to his mouth. I resist his hold, but I'm powerless against him. His warm, wet mouth wraps around my finger and sucks off my juices in one swirl of his tongue. I hiss through my teeth, those electric waves shooting from where he licks me and throughout my body. His eyes roll backwards, acting as if he's sucking on the best lollipop he's ever had. I can't control how my stomach tightens and thighs clench in response. I'm drenched and embarrassed. He pops my finger from his mouth, and it takes massive strength not to send my fist into his dick. He finally releases my hair from his grip, and I scramble away from him. Zipping up his jeans, he looks down at me. I can only see a sliver of his face from the moonlight. But what I do see makes me feel murderous. He's not looking down at me smugly like I had expected. His face is arranged into a blank mask, as if what just happened didn't affect him at all. And that is so much worse.
You want to know the best part?
He asks quietly.
I was going to tuck you into bed and leave you alone tonight. But you seem to forget that just because I am wholly yours, little mouse, I am not a nice man.
September 27th, 1945. The world has seemed to relax now that World War II is over. Soldiers are coming home, and though many have fallen or have been injured, I think we're all thankful it's over. But the war has not ended in Parsons Manor. Ronaldo is taking me out today while John is at work and Sarah is at school. It'll be nice to get out of the house and get some fresh air before the weather starts to chill. He's taking me on a lovely picnic and then out to a movie. With John's growing aggressiveness, I'm not sure how to tell Ronaldo. I've only been able to see him about twice a month lately. He said his job is demanding. And I haven't confessed to him about John and our demise. I'm sure he'll be glad to hear that we might be heading towards a divorce. But I fear what he'll do when I confess just how angry John is. I pray he keeps his temper. Ronaldo has a short fuse. Maybe even shorter than John's.
Ooh, all right. My goodness, a little spicy at the end. My God. Goodness. All right, that's been chapters 20 and 21. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Come back next Thursday and we will get into chapters 22 and 23. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying Haunting Adeline. I've been seeing a lot of spike in downloads for these episodes, so it is showing me that you guys do like these episodes, and that is awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys. Again, TikTok and Instagram. Follow us over there for the clips. On TikTok, we're ever getting closer to my goal of 10K. If you are a primarily audio listener, rate the podcast. If you'd like to help us out more on the free 99 side, head over to youtube.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Am I the Asshole Podcast, all one word, or click the link tree, go to YouTube, subscribe there. Even if you don't watch, subscribing there helps a lot. And then patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. $3 a month gets you an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send your scenarios into the show. But without further ado, thank you guys so much, and peace.